first advert started. We're now recording.
Good evening everyone and welcome to the 5th round of the SSRi GT3 Championship. You are watching the Tier 2 broadcast. I'm Dimitri and our broadcaster for today is Chris Hill. Today's race will be held on the Misano World Circuit. It's a racetrack located next to the town of Misano Adriatico in Italy, so I'm expecting some sunny weather. It was designed in 1969 and was originally 2.1 miles long. The original track layout was roughly the same as the current layout that we are going to see later today. Two major differences are that the race direction was reversed and the current Sector 1 did not exist yet. Instead, the final corner connected the back straight to the start-finish line with a sweeping left-hander. In 1993, the track was modified for the first time and introduced the chicane that is currently turn 1 and 2. However, in 1993, the race direction was still reversed. In order to host the World Motorcycle Championship, some additional changes were made in 2007 and 2008, and the race direction was also changed into the clockwise direction we know now. In November 2011, the circuit owners announced that the track would be named after Marco Simoncelli, an Italian motorcycle racer who died during the 2011 Malaysian Grand Prix a week earlier. The track is now officially known as the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. We're going to drive the GT3s today. The GT3 track record on Misano is currently being held by the Belgian driver Dries van Toor in an Audi R8 with a lap time of 1:32.667. So with that out of the way, introduction to the Misano track. Chris, maybe it's a good idea to have a look at where we have been the past couple of weeks and where we are going the coming 2 weeks to events. So round 1 was an Imola 60-minute race. For the silver class, we had a winner, Dennis Bergman, and AM was Milan Dauma. Then we went to Oulton Park for 2 sprint races. Mike Abrenhosa won both in the silver, Denise Pope and Milan Dauma for the AM. Round 3 we went to Suzuka with Nelson Abrenhosa winning the silver class and Sebastian Reino the AM class. In Hungaroring it was Tim Nijboer winning the silver class and again Sebastian Reino winning for AM. And I'm very curious what we're going to see today. It's 2 30-minute sprint races. And on May the 10th we will be visiting Silverstone for a 75-minute race and 1 mandatory pit stop. And then the final race in South Africa, Kyalami, again a 75-minute race, and that's on May the 24th. So qualification should be on the way. I'm gonna have a look at it quite soon. In the meantime, I will get some standings while we see the first picture of the qualification. For the silver class, we have Nelson Abrenhosa in the lead, followed by Mike Abrenhosa and Tom Dahlhuizen. Danny van der Veen is 4th and Tim Nijboer is 5th. And if we have a look at the AM class, we will see that Milan Dauma is leading it with 220 points, followed by Denise Pope with 205, Carl van Hoorn with 170, Dion van der Dus with 135 and Sebastian Reino, the winner of the last 2 races in the AM class with 118 points. So it's all still undecided. Having a look at the silver class, it's also very close with Nelson with 196 and then 173, 157, 142. So anything can happen. We're having a look at Denise Pope right now. Who is currently, I believe, 5th in the AM class, the 2nd actually in the AM class, trying to catch Milan Dauma today. She has a nice 4th time at the moment, but qualification is still about 12 minutes left, so anything can still change. Having a look at Mike Abrenhosa going into turn 1. This is the chicane, the first sector that was added in 2007, 2008. He just went to the Variante del Parco and is now on his way to Rio. And if I'm not mistaken, those names are actually indications for some of the cities and towns that are nearby the track circuit. Mike went to the top there in the previous lap with a 134.9. Very well done. And in the meantime, we see Denise, who improved a bit and went to a 135.0. Ahead of Milan Dauma, so that's gonna be her aim probably, to qualify ahead of Milan Dauma and see if she can maintain it during the race. We're looking at Patrick Prince, one of the few drivers in the Lamborghini Huracan. Always a great car to see.
Good evening, Dimitri.
Evening, Chris.
I do apologise for being quiet for a little while. I was just getting my head straight for following this intriguing qualifying session. Currently following Patrick Prince, who's 0.3 up on this lap.
And he's actually, I think he's one of the only drivers in a Lamborghini. I'm having a look. I think he is the only driver in the Lamborghini, which is a bit of a shame because I really enjoy the car. It's a beauty to look at. I personally, I'm not very well at driving it though, but it's a pretty car in my book.
Yeah, he is the only driver. You quite in the Lamborghini. You're quite right. We do have quite a few other different makes of cars: McLarens, Ferraris, BMWs. There's a couple of Porsches, some Aston Martins, and some Hondas.
Yeah, we have Denise and Evan in the Honda, and that's not a car you see a lot.
It isn't, and Patrick's just gone quicker again.
I think this track is doing well for Patrick. He is quite a fast driver, and if you look at the standings, he's a bit lower than I expected him to be. But this track seems to be suited to him.
Yeah, I've just focused on Tim Neibauer, who was slightly up on his previous best time. But obviously, as soon as I focus on him, he goes down.
Yeah, that's what you get. Oh, he's close to his best time. He's around his best time, so he can still do it with a nice continuation of this lap.
Taking quite a lot of curbs. I noticed in a few areas.
Yeah, it is a track where you can do that, and although the last time I driven it was GT4, which is much easier on the curbs, and you can really take a lot of curb. And in GT3, that's a bit more dangerous with all the downforce. But it looks like this track, it is possible. Hitting the inside curb there as well, and the car seems to agree with it. No problem at all. Looks like, yeah, it's just 2/10 shy of his personal best in this qualification lap.
Should we see who else is improving? Carl Van Horn.
I was watching Carl Van Horn during the practice a little bit, and he was doing really well. So I'm expecting something from him. Well, we go picture in picture. Really nice to see.
So this is both these images are of Carl from different perspectives.
Let's see how he's doing. He's 2/10 up, no, down on his best time at the moment. So he's looking for a really nice entry, picture braking marker. It's always a difficult corner. Tramonto, I believe it is. It's corner 10. And exit is extremely important because you have a straight after it, but then also the next two turns to the right are basically flat out. So it's a longer straight than you think initially. So any speed you can carry out of the turn 10, you will really carry it for a long time, and you can really lose and gain a lot of time over there.
I think when I commentated on the GT4, I kept calling it the not straight.
Yeah, it is.
Slight kink.
It is, and it's a bit like the Formula One drivers who went like, well, if you're gonna design corners, at least make them so you have to brake. But in this case, it's one of the highlights of Misano. I think the speed you can carry into turn 11 and turn 12, and then slam on the brakes just a little bit for turn 13. It's amazing. It's always scary to go through that section and with that amount of speed, but it's also satisfying.
So Mike Cabrinosa with just a final corner to go. 0.3 up on his time at the moment.
Yeah, he's looking to improve. And there he goes to P1. That's a great time.
Tim Neibauer's gone to second as well, I noticed.
It looks like Dennis Werkman just did 1:35.5. I'm looking at him. That's a bit shy of his best time. I thought he was doing a personal best as well.
Rudy Stewart, currently half a second up on his lap. Jumps up to 7th.
Yeah, that's a massive improvement. That's what you need to do, you know, when you go from 15 to 7, you just stop and enjoy it a little bit and then go for it again.
I think Tim Neibauer's on well, he was 0.1 of a second up, he's actually dropped to 0.1, but let's see, follow him round the lap, see if he can improve down the back straight that's not straight.
Looks like Steve Parker also got a decent lap in. He went from last to P14, so I think he didn't really have a clean lap in yet. So that's a massive improvement for him. And Tim Neibauer is really looking to be very close to his best time again, and he only needs 10th to Mike Cabernos.
We do it. He's 0.2 down at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, he lost it. He lost the 10th in the final corner.
Patrick Prince is on a slightly better lap, 0.1 up. Goes ahead of Tim.
It's really close at the top, so you know that 1/10 it can still get you ahead a couple of places. I'm having a look at Patrick Prince. He's currently 14th in the silver class standings. I know he had at least one bit of unfortunate race where I don't even believe he finished the race, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 51 points. If he manages to continue this pace today with 2 sprint races, you know, he can really make some improvements on that.
He's only slightly shy of Mike Cabernos's time as well.
Yeah, exactly. He's looking really strong today. And only 1 minute 15 left in qualifying. That time flies. It feels like 2 minutes ago that we have 12 minutes left and we're already almost done with qualifying. So those drivers that are still want to improve, they really have to get on track, see if they can cross the finish line in time for one last flying lap.
Follow Patrick across the line. Doesn't improve.
Looks like Chris Mike Milan Dauma is having a very nice lap. He's 4/10 up on his time, trying to catch Denise, but Denise is doing the same. So once again into Tramonto, really difficult to approach it. It's a bit of a weird braking zone.
He lost some time then as well, because he was 0.4 it wasn't he, and he's now only 0.1 now.
Yeah. Yeah, for the most exciting corner of the track. The line looks nice and then cut to the right again, so you can really attack this second to last corner.
Slight lift there.
Early on the throttle, yeah. don't think he will improve, or maybe
He
slightly.
does.
He does improve.
Up to 5th.
Goes to 5th.
Where did that come from?
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at P5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're so incredibly close. So even if he only improved like a 10th at maximum, but I think it was even less than that, he does go from 10 to P5. It's so close together.
Well, I was hoping to catch somebody there on a faster lap, but it does appear that nobody is actually out doing any qualifying now.
Looks like we're done. And we have Mike Abrenhosa. Mike Abrenhosa on P1, and Patrick Prince, who got really close to that pole position, with less than a 10th behind Mike Abrenhosa.
So that was qualifying.
That was exciting. If you're looking at, you know, the anywhere from P4 to P10, it's so close. You know, we only have a 30-minute sprint race, so it's they can really attack, and they can really, you know, you don't have to mind the tires. You don't have to save the tires. It's just full out racing from the get-go. So I'm really excited to watch this one. It's going to be incredibly close. So let's have a look at what we can expect. We have Mike Abrenhosa on P1 in qualifying, Patrick Prince on P2. Very nearly got that pole position, but P2 for him it is. Tim Nijbauer P3. There we have Andreas Westkamp P4. Milan Dauma, who had a late launch to P5. The really nice position for the AM driver. Danny van der Veen on P6. Ike Hughes P7. Rich Stewart on P8, Denise Pope on P9, and Dennis Bergman P10. There are some names missing if I'm looking at qualification standings. Unfortunately, I believe that Nelson Abrenhosa, who is P2 in the silver class, is not on track today. So yeah, we have a couple of drivers like Danny van der Veen, who is looking to seize the opportunity and see if he can catch Nelson Abrenhosa. Of course, in the AM we have the battle between Milan Dauma and Denise Pope. They were really competitive, both of them, today as well. Carl van Hoorn is third in the standings, and he was up there as well in P14. Unfortunately, in the AM class, we are missing Sebastian Reino, who won the last two races. And Steve Parker, I saw him in there. He's on P16, so he's right in the mix as well. It's going to be an exciting race between silver class, AM class. Overall, I mean, Dauma, Denise Pope, they're right in there between the silver class drivers. So it's going to be exciting. Everybody's getting their preparations done. Pick the right setup. It's a sunny day today. I don't think people expected any rain, so they can just stick to their main setups. We have 2 minutes until session start.
It's worth also mentioning that it's a 2 times 30-minute sprint, so there's going to be another qualifying session after this 30-minute race, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Do you know how long that qualifying session is, Chris? I believe it's a tiny bit shorter than the first qualifying, right?
I'm glad you asked me that question. I'll come back to you in a second with an answer.
I can have a look at it as well. That's no problem. Let's have a look.
I'm sure it's 20 minutes.
It's not even that important. But now that we have asked the question, we want to get an answer as well, right?
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Yeah, I always like the sprint races because you have the qualification and then you go into a sprint race and you know things can happen. and sometimes when it does, at least you have a second opportunity. But also, when you have a really clean race and you just have the all the adrenaline of the first race, and you had a wonderful race and it was great racing, and then suddenly it ended, and you have to sort of relax, get into a different state of mind again, go into a qualification again, and then do it again. Have another race. So there's this moment of having high adrenaline and then needing to get down and relax a little bit again before you do it all over. So that's quite fascinating. And the thing with the sprint races is, of course, that you don't have the tire management, you don't have the refueling, and I like both. But that's why we do both in this series. It's a mixture of both sprint and longer races. So everyone is getting ready for the formation lap. It's a full formation lap. While I'll take something to drink. So it even looks, having this helicopter view, that the old track is still visible. As we're now in sector 1, we go to the right, and it's the Rio, turn 4 and turn 5, and then we go left onto the second straight, I guess it is. And initially, this first sector, T1 to T6, was not there. And here on the right, you can see the light gray. That was the old connection from the main straight up to this straight.
So I thought I'd show the leader from pole position and the guy in final position, so you can see the distance between everybody.
Yeah, that's also always exciting, especially when you're a bit further down the field. When the formation lap, you go from single file to double file. The drivers at the back, they really have to hurry to make it in time. And this is not a very long track. It's a shortest track, so they don't have a lot of time to catch up and get into the proper position. And you're always a bit scared, like, am I going to make it in time? So you'll probably see the drivers in bottom right or at the end of the grid really accelerate to make sure they are in line on time.
You don't want to get teleported to the pits, do you?
You don't want to do that, nope. Especially not in a sprint race.
No, absolutely not.
You know what I'm gonna do? I have printed a map of the track over here because that's easier for me. But I'm gonna rotate it so that it's the same as it is in ACC, because otherwise I get confused.
That's a cracking idea.
So final corner onto the main straight. Lights are still red, waiting for the green light.
Green light, give it all you got.
And it's green, green, green. It looks like Patrick Prince has a really good start. He's on the outside now for T1. He sticks to the outside. We did have a spinner over there. I hope everybody can avoid him or her. Mike Carbonhosa, he remained in P1, Patrick Prince P2, and Tim Nybar in third position. So no changes over there, and I think it's around P6 that we had the spinner because there's a gap. Patrick Prince going for the outside lunge, late braking. it's difficult to make a move on the outside there, and that actually gives Tim Nijber an opportunity to get beside him and try to make a move into turn 10, which he doesn't succeed in. Looking at the back, it does seem that we don't have huge gaps, so I think most people could avoid the turn 1 incident. Patrick Prince really has, yeah, that's what I mean. He really has a nice pace in the opening lap. He's going around the outside, went a bit wide there, which gave Mike Abrahams an opportunity to get back at him again. And now he's under pressure from Tim Nijber, who made the move on Patrick Prince. It was a really nice move by Patrick, and unfortunately he couldn't make the move stick, and that made him vulnerable to Tim, who really seized the opportunity and got ahead of Patrick. Looking at the timing sheet now that we have a lap completed, I think it must have been Milan Dalma who spun in the first lap, because I can't see him in the top anymore. He's down to P16, and Denise Pope still in P6, so there's an opportunity for her to really gain some points and put pressure on Milan for the AM class.
Replay coming up.
We have replay of the turn 1 incident, I think. Yeah, it's unfortunate. He just got a tap from behind, and that made him spin. And probably that caused some distraction for the other drivers who have to try to avoid each other, and that resulted in some further accidents. Looking at the livery, it might have been Denise who just outbraked herself a little bit going into turn 1. And we see a move by Tim Nijber going for P1. And that's some great defending by Mike Abrahams. He knows that, you can go on the inside for turn 1, but that is the outside for turn 2, so I'll just stay here and have the inside for turn 2. Some great defensive action there. It does look, Chris, that we have one driver really far behind. I believe that's Frank Hopp, so he must have had an incident somewhere.
We have a driver that's come into the pits as well with quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It's Wim Onderwater in the McLaren 720.
I'm not going to share an image of that just at the moment, because this battle's hotting up.
It is. And Tim looks to have the pace. He's right up there, putting the pressure on Mike Abrahams. And Patrick Prince was really fast in the first couple of laps as well. It looks like he is now settled in a bit in third place and trying to get his speed up, see if he can settle in and go for some nice moves a bit later on. Meanwhile, in P4, P5, I can see Andreas Westkamp and Danny Van der Veen having some really nice battles as well. Closely followed by Denise Pope and Dennis Werkman. Dennis, I believe, the winner of the first race this season, so he really has some pace in him as well. And of course, Denise, the winner of the second race in the AM class.
So the chap that was in the pits is now had his car repaired. Must have had quite extensive damage, and he's just exiting the pits.
So here we see him exiting the pits, I think, Wim Onderwater in the McLaren 720S. Unfortunately, we missed what caused the accident, but he must be one of the drivers being really happy that there's a second sprint race coming up a bit later on.
The problem with him trying to join the track now is everybody's trying to go past.
Yeah. And that puts you in a position that you have blue flags like all the time. So it's a difficult position. I mean, he just exited pits and the race leaders are already, coming up to turn 3. So they're not that far behind. And Oliver Anderson is in the pits as well, I see. So he must have had an incident somewhere. And Dennis Bergman really putting under pressure on Denise. Denise going really wide to maximize the braking potential into the corner. I almost thought she went a little bit too wide, but she managed to stay ahead of Dennis. Go into the fast section, it's really difficult to make a move here unless somebody makes a little bit of a braking mistake going into turn 13. It's interesting to see while Denise goes wide again, and Dennis just puts his nose in there and see if Denise went a little bit wide as he compromised the following corners, and especially over here there's such a long straight. If you compromise the exit, you lack the speed, and Dennis managed to get a proper exit over there and just flew by. But Denise is not giving up. She tried to immediately get back at Dennis and go back to P5 again. She's all over the car of Dennis Bergman at the moment. If he looks in his rear mirror, he can see nothing but a black and pink car.
Replay coming up of what's happened to Oliver. No, there isn't. Press the wrong button. Be right back.
I'm having a look at Mike Abernhouse and Tim Nyberg. They're still very close together. 0.3 of a second. It looks like Patrick Prince is just, backing up a little bit and not able to keep up the really fast pace that he showed on the first 2 laps.
So a replay coming up of what happened to Oliver Anderson.
Oh, we have Oliver Anderson here in the replay. Oh, he just lost it. It's a proper tank slapper. I think that's on the... Oh, he just decided to go escape to the pit. Probably afraid that he will be on the racing line and compromise some other drivers' race. It looks to me, Chris, that he just ran a little bit too much on the inside curb. Maybe on one of those Sussex curbs that really unsettled the car, and he tried to correct it, but unfortunately he couldn't.
Yes, you're correct. And I think he not feared, but yeah, as you said, he would have come back into all the traffic. So it's perhaps better just to retire the car, knowing that there's another race coming up straight after this one.
Yeah, exactly. I was having a look at the Honda from Denise Pope, and she ran over the Sussex curbs as well. But the Honda was really able to do that comfortably. So it could also be a setup specific thing. I know Oliver is running the Porsche, so that's a really different car to the Honda, and it could also be setup. So we have a really tight group here with Steve Parker, Wouter Belsma. I think it's a group of 4 cars, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Going side by side through the tight section of the track. It's it's difficult, but they keep it clean.
Very clean driving there, Dimitri. Very.
Yeah. So I think that's John Haga, Ike Chu, Steve Parker, Tom Curtin, and Wouter Belsma is in there as well. Ooh.
That was close at the back there.
It was very close. I was trying to see who that was, but with my eyesight, I just couldn't see which driver it was. And unfortunately, I'm not one of those people who can recognize a Ferrari from a McLaren from the helicopter view. Well, to be fair, I do recognize the white McLaren from Steve Parker, and probably an Aston behind him.
So that'll be John Hadge in front of him, Steve Parker, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I think the bright yellow car missed the braking point, but did a great job while we're looking at a move on the inside from Steve Parker. Once again, it's difficult to make a move there. Oh, yeah, you can see it happening. It went a little bit wide. And Aston saw an opportunity to go to the inside, but that just had a slight touch, unfortunately. But going back to the main to the story I was saying, I think the bright yellow car that missed his braking mark but did a great job in avoiding the other cars. I think that was the Ferrari of Wouter Belsma. So this is once again the battle for the lead, I think, Chris, with Mike Ebenhouse.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Tim Nijboer, and it's Patrick Prince, who was a bit further back a couple of laps ago. He managed to really close up on the front 2 again. So it's still a 3-car battle for the lead. Looking at the lap times, Chris, and they're also really close to each other. It's a 1:35.1 for Mike, 1:35.2 for Tim Nijboer, and a 1:35.2 as well for Patrick Prince last lap.
It's a fast pace.
It is.
I'm pretty sure I could never keep up.
No, exactly. And everyone, and there are only cars in the 135s at the moment. No, that's a lie. I can also see Milan Doma, who did a 135.5, so he's right up there. But unfortunately, he had the accident in the first lap, so he's a bit further down the field. quite a heavy braking into the final corner. Stick it to the inside. I think most drivers will try to catch some curb and make the car rotate a little bit extra due to the curb. And we have a replay coming. No, it's not a replay, it's picture-in-picture. And battle for first, that's Mike Eberhouse, Tim Nijboer and Patrick Prince. And if we look at the bottom right, the battle for 8th position. That must be Mr. Stewart, Carl van Horn, Evan Atafas. That's the 41 car of Stewart making a move there. But Carl van Horn is trying to get back at him.
I think Mr. Stewart is actually trying to defend.
Yeah, he is. It looked like Carl van Horn had a better run through that tight section and therefore have a better exit onto the main straight, and he made the pass over there.
It looked like there was a bit of a block there.
Looked a little bit like a block, yeah. And that really means that the cars behind him could catch up quickly. And now it's Evan Atafas going for a move on Mr. Stewart. I think he has the move done because he's on the inside for the next 3 corners. Oh, unfortunately they collide. And that's on a really high speed section of the track, so there's not much you can do once you hit each other. It's really difficult to catch the car. It's such a high speed corner.
We just jump back to the battle first. It looks like Tim's managed to get past Mike.
Definitely, yeah, he has. We were so distracted by the intense battle going on for P8 that I missed this.
Oh!
Ooh, yeah, it's unfortunate. I think Tim, he just lost the rear and yeah, Mike Erenhose, he was in the wrong place. Not much Tim could do about that, I think, by the looks of it.
Which means that Patrick has now taken the lead in the Lamborghini.
He has. Yeah, he has, and he has been showing some really fast pace. He was the fastest of the 3 in the previous lap, so it's very close. They're very close to each other, but he has a bit of a gap now. So if he can maintain his pace, it's really difficult for Mike Erenhouse to catch up to him again. And I don't know if he has some damage from that slight contact. I think it should be okay, but sometimes even a contact like that can give you some damage, and that can hamper you in raw pace. That also means that we have Andreas Westkamp on P3 right now in the Audi, followed by Danny van der Veen in P4, and it looks like Tim Nijboer has rejoined in 5th position, right in front of Denise Boat.
Let's start. We go to the cockpit view to see if we can see anything of Mike trying to manage anything. Doesn't look like his steering's too bad.
No, it looks okay. You did see a slight oversteer moment in the first chicane, but that's quite normal over there. So it's looking all right. Really trying. Oh, that's late, very late. So that should have cost him a couple of tenths. But you can really see these drivers, Chris, they're really trying to explore every part of the track, cut from the extreme outside to the apex of the corner and go to the outside again.
There's under 10 minutes left as well of this race.
Yeah, it's looking good for Patrick.
Tim down in 5th now. Trying to catch back up to Danny van der Veen.
Yeah, by the looks of it, his car seems to be quite alright as well. I think, it didn't look like there was contact before. It's just a matter of him losing the back end of the car, and it's in the Mercedes that can happen quite easily. and unfortunately he tried to catch it, but wasn't able to avoid contact.
Just looking down to see where the next closest battles are. Gerard and Piotr. Rudy obviously carrying quite a bit of damage there from that previous incident.
Yeah, and they're being chased as well by Archius and Corinne Benz. So they can't fight too much with each other, because that will really give an opportunity to the drivers behind them to catch up, which they already have, by the way. So,
Ooh, that was a bit of a cut.
that must have been a track limits.
Got to be.
It's I can't say that the Audi is really known for its excellent behavior on grass, but he did a nice job over there. It is quite an intense fight, this, Chris. So there's some door banging here and there, so it's exciting to watch.
Door banging's allowed. Taking each other out's not.
Exactly. And to be honest, it was a good move on the inside over there, and then there was a gap. He went for it, and there was slight side by side contact. That can happen. It wasn't a huge lunge or anything.
Rudy runs a bit wide there again.
Yeah, I do think. Sorry, Chris. Go
I'd
ahead.
say it gives Kareem the chance to pass, but he doesn't take that opportunity. But obviously, he's carrying a hell of a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly. That was what I was about to mention as well. I think he really has some issues with the car. Looking at the front of the car and the way he's really losing touch on the other cars as well, and the amount of slight moments he has trying to control the car. I think it's a handful.
I'm just going back to this dual feed. Just caught it at the wrong time there. Danny van der Veen and Tim Neibauer having a heck of a battle. Tim trying to catch up to where he was.
Yeah, but he still has to be very careful looking in his rear mirrors as well, because they're not letting me go easy. And I have to say, Patrick is really keeping a steady pace, 135.3 last lap, compared to the 135.2 of Mike Abranosa in P2. If he keeps up this pace, it's very difficult for Mike to really close that gap, which is nearly 2 seconds.
And what we just saw was in the bottom right was a bit of a collision between Tim and Danny van der Veen. Spun them round, they both lost places.
I'm glad you saw it, Chris. I missed it.
I shall go and hunt for a replay.
In the meantime, you can really see that it's Rory Stewart. Is trying to fend off Corinne Benz. It is costing them lap time, because they're almost 2 seconds slower than Piotr who they were battling with only like 2 or 3 laps ago. Kareem having a look on the inside there.
Replay coming up of what happened with Danny Van der Veen and Tim Neubauer. Danny went for a late lunge.
Yeah, that was a bit too late, in all fairness. And he does wait, so that's really nice. He realized he was too late with the move over there.
I think they both lost 2 places there due to that.
I think they did, yeah. And it's still Kareem and Stewart fighting for position. They're both about 2 seconds slower a lap than their best times, and there was Kareem just being maybe a little impatient and touching the back end of the Aston Martin of Stewart.
See, that time I missed that.
It happens. We're looking at the screen, we're looking at the live timing, we're looking at everything. And while we're looking at Stewart getting back on track, I think we saw Derek Venema, who made a slight mistake on his own, and the car just a little bit of oversteer and went into the inside barrier, unfortunately.
Well, here's one for you. Tim Neubauer has got a drive-through.
See it? Question is, was he?
And he's serving that drive-through now.
Yeah. Was he that aggressive on the track limits, or did he make a mistake? Because I know on this track, if you make a mistake in the final sector and you really go wide, there are a couple of track limit sectors after each other, so it's easy to pick up not 1 but 2 track limits in one move if you really make a mistake. Yeah,
there's no need to rub it in, is there? You know full well that's what happened to me in the 2.4 here. Few weeks ago.
Actually, I didn't. So this time it wasn't even on purpose.
Well done. I'm really impressed. So we're coming up to the section now, riding on board with Patrick. I braked and my back end overtook me, and I went straight across that grey bit there.
Yeah.
And the trajectory took me cutting that track, which gives you an automatic disqualification because you've cut that whole section out.
That happened to me once as well. Yeah. So I think everyone knows that part of the track, and because it happens to everyone at least once.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
Evan Natas up to 8th. Good close battle here.
Yeah, he's done a great job. And I'm looking at Van der Does as well. He's up in P7, second in AM class. And I kind of missed him, I think, in the qualification. I was not paying attention, which is really possible because, like I said, looking at multiple schemes here, Ori has really driven a great race.
So bottom right is the leader on his final lap.
Oh, well, we see Evan braking late, missing, I think that's turn 3, and giving up the position there. He's trying to really get a great exit for the main straight, but yeah, he just didn't have the cleanest of exit, so no opportunity to immediately make the move back there, and he actually has to defend. And well, you could say he did it well there, but I think the move by the car behind him was a bit opportunistic. He realized it, tried to avoid contact, and made a little bit of a mistake himself. As we're already on the final lap, Chris, so it's the leader is that finishing the race.
That is.
The leader has finished the race.
It is.
Mike sorry, Patrick Prince called the wrong one out there.
Yeah, it's Patrick. And really nicely done. He was very fast. Of course, he made use of the opportunity that arose when Mike and Tim slightly collided with each other. But I think, looking at the speed he had the entire race, it is fully deserved as well.
I'm sorry, Dimitri. I've made a bit of a mess this. I normally try and catch everybody crossing the line, but I've missed every single one so far.
That's all right. I shall call them out in a minute. Here we have Tim, who was, well, you know, in the end he's P12 due to the drive-through he had, and that's a shame because he was really in there for the win. But to conclude, let's see who we have here. We are now at, I think, Piotr Rogos. I'll go through the top 10, Patrick. Chris?
So I'll answer to anything, as you know.
Because I think everyone is about to finish right now. First 30-minute sprint race, we have Patrick Prince P1, Mike Abrenhose P2, Andreas Westkamp on P3. And then on P4 we have Denise Pope, who is the winner of the AM category as well. Dennis Werkman P5, Danny van der Veen P6, Dion van der Dus P7 and second place in the AM category, followed by Carl van Horn in P8 and also the third place in the AM category. On 9th we have Evan Tavas, and the top 10 is completed with Sjauke Vervat. On P11 we have Milan Dauma, who is the current leader in the standings for the AM category, so he lost some points there to Carl van Horn, Dion van der Dus and Denise Pope. So he's trying to, you know, what's the word I'm looking for, Chris? You're trying to compensate in the second race. See if you can gain some points back then. P12 we have the unfortunate Tim Nijboer. I'm trying to pronounce it in English now. Then we have Piotr Rogos P13, Ike Toos P14, Arjen van der Linden on P15, and Karim Benz, who we saw quite a lot of this race, on P16. Mr. Stewart 17, Wouter Belsma 18, John Hage 19, Derek Venema 20, Frank Hopp 21, who we saw in the opening stages of the race. We saw him really at the back of the car, so I think he had an incident somewhere. Then Mark van Eyck on P22, Wim Onderwater in P23, who we saw in the pit lane with some massive damage that needed repair, and Steve Parker 24. Tom Curtin P25, and we know that we had one car also exiting to pit. So now it's time for the drivers, you know, adrenaline very high. To relax a bit, slow that heartbeat down, maybe go for a small sanitary stop, and then get back in action for another qualification and another 30-minute race. This is for me also the time to grab something to drink, so I'll be back in about a minute with some fresh drinks and another qualification run. Right, so that's race 1 done. I think it's time to head over to qualification, Chris, for the second race. Now that we're done refilling the drinks. And to be fair, and apologies, my throat could use a little bit of a rest as well. It's been so sunny today. I think it sort of freaked out, and I thought, what is this? I'm gonna be annoying to you today. Well, we're back into qualification. And once again, I can see Patrick Prince on P1. He is really having a blast on this track with the Lamborghini Huracan that he's driving. "12 minutes left, so we have to pay attention because the last time I saw that we had 12 minutes left in qualification, it just flew by like crazy." Let's have a look. We have Patrick Prince, Tim Nijber once again on P2. Then it's Danny van der Veen on P4. I choose, I missed, he's on P3. And Danny going to P2. Having a look, where is Mike Ebenhosa, who was really fast in the first race as well. I think he does not have a really proper lap in yet. He's almost a second off pole position at the moment. And here we have Mike, he went to P3, so there is the lap that he wanted. At least he has his banker lap in now, so he can really push for the remaining 11 minutes. And he's really on another push step at the moment. Very close to his personal best. And he's still very close to his personal best. Let's see if he can improve on his personal best at the moment. Going up to the final corner, which is actually called Misano. Onto the main straight. He's a 10th up on his best time. Let's see if he can keep it. And he did. He went to P2 with a time of 1:34.4. Unfortunately, Mr. Chris Hill just messaged me that his microphone is having some troubles. So I'm afraid everyone will have to do with my voice for the second race. While we're looking at Tim Nijber on P4. How is he doing on time? He just started laps, so he's a 10th down at the moment. But anything can still happen in the second and third sectors. Well, we switch to Evan Atavas because, and that's a great move by Chris because he is 5/10 up on his time. And he is currently 6/10 behind the leader, so he is really going for a fast lap. Onto the really fast section. Slight tap of the brake, try to keep as much speed as you can. Really great lines over there. Onto the hairpin. That's looking really nice as well. Move to the right, a slight switch of the car there. but he kept it onto the final corner, and he did lose a lot of time in that really fast section. Let's see where he ends up. So it looks like he did improve by 2/10, but he was going for 5/10, 6/10, so he lost a bit in the final sector, unfortunately. Look at Dennis Werkman, also 4/10 up on his time, going on to the final section. Let's hope he can keep up the pace, where Evan has lost a bit of time in this really fast sector. Dennis is really close to another driver, so I hope it does not distract him too much. It's looking like he is really keeping up his pace. He had a 1:35.0 his best time, and what does he do now? It's a massive improvement. A 1:34.4. So well done by Dennis. Six minutes and 45 seconds left in the qualification. We have Patrick Prince on P1, Dennis Werkman P2, Mike Erbenhuis on P3, Danny van der Veen on P4, and Tim Nijboer P5. Then we see the first AM driver on P6, Milan Dauma, Ike Chius on P7, and Evan Atafas P8, Denise Pope, the second AM driver on P9, and Tom Curtin P10. And I'm having a look. That's 9/10 down on the pole position at the moment. We're chasing Tim Nijboer at the moment. And apologies, Tim. I keep saying Nijboer while I know it's Nijboer. As you know, when you're speaking English, you immediately change the pronunciation of the names as well. Apparently, at least I do. Tim was unfortunate in the first race with. Well, I think the slight mistake that he made in the first sector actually hit Mike, and then he got the drive-through as well. Really unfortunate. He's desperately trying to improve on the first race. He looks to be 1/10 up on his personal best. But I don't think that will improve his position, unfortunately. Yeah, he did do a personal best with a 1:34.7. But still, a small gap to the car ahead of him, which is Dennis van der Veen with a 1:34.4. Let's have a look. Milan Dauma at the moment, our leader in the AM category for this qualification, also in the standings, driving a BMW. He looks to be improving on his time, but made a small mistake over there and lost a bit of time. Coming up to the final corner, looking for the inside, early on the throttle. since P7. Right, so let's see who we have on track. I see Mike Eberhosa trying to... Yeah, there he is. He just finished the lap. I was about to say trying to improve on his time, and he just did. Small improvement, but enough to gain 1 position onto the front row. Once again, I see a fast lap from Milan Dauma, trying to improve on his time of a 134.8, and he just did, and he went to second with a 134.3. Absolutely a great lap by Milan. And once again, it is very close in the top 10. We have a 134.302 by Patrick, followed by a 134.360. So that's less than a tenth between P1 and P2, and a 134.38 by Mike as well. Well, we go on to the final minute of qualification. Tim has 1 more lap ahead of him, and he is improving on this lap. And Tim Nijboer goes to P3 with a 134.377. Positions are changing all the time in the top 10. Now we have Dennis Werkman on P5, trying to improve on his time. And it's his final attempt before we run out of time. We switch to Denise Pope, who is currently on P10, but up on her time with a couple of tenths. Let's see if she can make a final dash and improve on her position. She just got pushed into P11, so let's see if she can claw her way back into the top 10. And unfortunately, she cannot. So it's P11 for Denise, unless some other drives are improving. And one of those drivers can be Evan the toughest, but he's already on P9. Let's see what he is doing. He looks to be up on his time, so there is some slight improvement, but he outbrakes himself over there. That might cost him on the straight as well. And we see Tim Nijboer, who made a final effort, and he is onto pole position with a 134.277. Great final lap by Tim. Back to Evan. Let's see if he can improve his time and gain a position. Oh, he went wide on the final corner. And unfortunately, that is no improvement. So there we have it. Second qualification. Let's run through the order. We have Tim Nijboer with a final lap improvement on P1. Patrick Prince on P2 and Milan Dalman in P3. And then we have Mike Ebenhoser. So it's Milan who got in between the top 3 of the first race as well. So Mike Ebenhoser in P4, Dennis Werkman P5, then followed by Danny van der Veen and Sjouke Vervat. Ike Choose on P8 and Evan Atafas P9. Top 10 is completed by Andreas Westkamp, followed by Denise Pope, Tom Curtin, Wouter Belsma and Karl van Hoorn on P14. Then we have Stewart, let's see, Steve Parker and Frank Hop P17, Dion van der Does, Mark van der Eyck, Karim Benz, Dirk Venema en Piotr Rogos. John Hagen, Wim Onderwater, and finally we have Arjan van der Linden on P25. So it looks like the real improvement compared to qualification number 1 is Milan Dauma in 3rd position, and he will probably be very happy with that. He had a bit of a unfortunate race 1, unfortunate lap 1, and lost some points compared to his main rivals Denise Pope, Karl van Hoorn for the AM championship. Being the championship leader, he did have a small gap to Denise Pope, but that's only 15 points, so he's probably very happy that he's on P3 right now, hoping for a clean first lap, a clean race, and a very, very nice result in the end to claw back some points after that race 1. See if he can extend his lead a little bit compared to Denise and Karl. Running through the order, I do believe that Sjouke Vervat is also improved quite a lot compared to qualification number 1. Sjouke is on P7 at the moment in the AMR Vantage, the Aston Martin. So he's probably very happy with his qualification as well. So currently we are waiting for the formation lap and race 2. And there we see the drivers ready for the formation lap. Track is still optimum. It's a bit more cloudy, it seems, than it was before. A slight wind. Track temperature at 16 degrees Celsius, which should be fine for these cars for 30 minutes. Tire wear should not be an issue at all. So session start in 30 minutes. I'm having a look at all the cars. We see a Mercedes, we see a Lamborghini, we see a BMW, and a Porsche in the top 4. It's quite a nice mix of cars. We see a McLaren in there as well, an Aston Martin, Audi, Honda, another Audi. So in the top 10 we have lots of different cars, which is always great to see. Tim is looking for revenge after the first race. I think Patrick is probably looking for a continuation of the first race, having won the first one. And then we see Milan again with a bit of revenge, probably. So go picture in picture again. and Tim Nijber immediately trying to warm up his tires, weaving, probably having a little bit of brake on as well to heat the brakes and heat the tires through the brakes. And it's also nice to see, of course, because it's the second race, it's later in the day. It's getting a bit darker, so headlights are on. So it's another 30-minute sprint race. Both races are full points, so it's an important day today. If you win both, you can really score some valuable points for the championship. Of course, we do also have scratch results in the standings, so if you miss a race, that's not that big of a problem. But of course, you know, most drivers, they are here to race, so they want to join every race and want to win every race, while having fun, of course. So we see the cars going through Tramonto, turn 10, onto the really fast straight up to turn 11, Curvone. And then the really fast section, of course, they're not going fast in the formation lap, but it's a fast sector of the track. And then right before the hairpin is the start of the third sector. It's actually quite a short sector 3. It's only 3 corners till the finish line. So drivers are getting ready. Double file. And it's the last car trying to catch up to the group, but he manages in time. Here we go to the start finish line. And it's Tim Nijber looking for a very clean start.
Green light. Go, go, go.
With Patrick Prince right beside him, we go green. It's a very nice start by Tim. He's already in front of Patrick. Patrick Prince tries to stick to the side and have the inside for the next corner, but he was just too far away. Absolutely great start by Tim. Immediately runs a bit of a gap. It looks like everyone is very clean through the first sector. Also having a look at the bottom right to see what happens further down the field, but it all looks really clean in the first sector. Well done everyone. It looks like Patrick is immediately under pressure by Mike Abernosa, who passed Milan Dauma, I think. No, it's still Milan Dauma in P3, I believe. We'll have to wait and see what the timing table is going to say after lap 1, but one thing is absolutely certain, and that is Tim Nijber having an absolutely wonderful start of the second race. Already a 1.2 second gap to Patrick Prince. It's just a start that Tim wanted. Qualify pole position, maintain the pole position and just stay out of trouble. It is in fact indeed Mike Abernosa who passed Milan Dauma on the opening lap on P3. Milan still P4, followed by Danny van der Veen, Dennis Werkman and Evan Atafas. Denise Pope also managed to gain 2 positions in the first lap, so she's trying to catch up to Milan Dauma. Still looks like everyone had a very clean opening lap. I do see Aya van der Linde in the number 75 Porsche a bit further back, so he might have had an incident, but other than that, it looks to have been a really clean opening. Looking back from Tim Nobo's car. Really taking some curb over there. And let's see what the first proper times are gonna be and how they compare to each other. Tim Nobu crossing the line first with the 1:35.4, followed by Patrick Prince having a really great lap with a 1:34.8, so he gained 4 tenths. No, that's quite some. Yeah, 6 tenths actually. On Tim, Mike Urbanosa 1:35.3 and Milan Dauma 1:35.4. Once again, we see Patrick having a really blistering pace on the opening laps. He does run wide over there, so that could be a track limit warning for Patrick. But he's really trying to immediately close the gap. There was a bit too much of a gap in his point of view after the start. Tim just had a wonderful start. It was 1.7 seconds away. Patrick closed it back to 6:10 now, so he's trying to really put the pressure on Tim. So battle for 9th, we have Denise Pope, Ike Hughes, Reward Stewarts, and I think Andreas Westkamp is in that battle as well. But it's mainly Denise and Ike Hughes at the moment, trying to fight for P9. I do hope that everyone has adjusted the tire pressures to the second race, because temperatures and of course it's a lot darker, it's a lot colder. So looking at the times, it does look like everyone realized it and has adjusted tire pressures accordingly. So the second full lap, we have seen that Tim has upped his pace a bit, 1:34.7, and gained another 5 tenths on Patrick Prince. So Patrick was really putting pressure on Tim on the first flying lap, and Tim has responded accordingly. And of course, the problem for Patrick is that he is being pressured by Mike Abrams and Milan Dauma as well. So, but while looking forward to Tim trying to catch him, he also has to keep an eye on his rear view mirror, because Mike and Milan are there as well. It does look like Patrick in the Lamborghini is able to gain some time in the first sector on the Mercedes of Tim Neighborhood. Patrick is pulling away a little bit from Mike as well. Different line going into the corner here. A bit wider by the Mercedes. Really making use of the inside over there by Patrick. Sparks flying over the curves is always lovely to see. Switch back to the right. Patrick does run wide a little bit, but I don't think it lost him a lot of time. And it's really close between those two. Tim once again with a 134.9 and Patrick with a 135.0, so there's nothing between them. Mike and Mila had to let go, lost a little bit of time compared to Tim and Patrick this time in the 135.1 and the 135.4. But this is exactly the start of the second race that Milan wanted. Stay out of trouble. Get into your rhythm, get into your flow. P4 at the moment lost one position, but you know, stay calm. Stay patient and see if an opportunity arises in the following 21 minutes. It does look like we have a couple of cars in the pit. Derek Venema and Tom Curtin. I'm wondering if they retired from the race or if they are repairing damage. We have another fastest lap time by Tim Nijboer, 1:34.6. Once again, Patrick is following really nicely with a 1:34.8, and Milan also with a 1:34.8. So once again, nothing between them. We go to a replay. No, it's picture in picture. Battle for third and battle for eighth, and a battle for eighth that's still between Denise Pope. And I think that must be Dennis Werkman. And I'm just wondering, did I see a mistake by Patrick Prince there in the battle for third position? Yeah, it looks like Patrick Prince made a mistake and he's under pressure by Macker Rose at the moment. Going into the final corner. It's a difficult move onto turn one, but Mike is going for it. Sticking it to the outside. Going for a late braking, and then the next corner he should be on the inside, but Patrick really gives him the space, gives him the room. It's very clean racing by the both of them. It's very easy to go wrong there. Mike switching back, trying to go to the inside, but there's no space there, no opportunity. And Milan is having a look at this and he's thinking, well, if I have a proper exit, I might get an opportunity on the straight. But unfortunately, Mike also had a really great exit on there. This small mistake by Patrick Prince and also the battle that followed it immediately does mean that Tim Nijboer really is pulling away now. He has a gap of 3.5 seconds. And we see, unfortunately, a drive through for Sjouke Vervat. He was one of the drivers with a great qualification. He's on P8 at the moment, but He has been handed the drive-through. Like we saw with Tim Neighbor in the first race, it's now Sjouke Vervat, and that will probably cost him a lot of places. You have 3 laps, I believe, to do the drive-through, but let's see what he does. Most drivers will immediately take the drive-through, so you have as much time as possible to make up for the lost time. There he goes into the pit lane. Try to maximize his speed and brake right in time. And this is a lonely feeling. You can hear all the cars on the main straight just passing you one by one. You're stuck to the pit limiter. So Sjouke Vervat, he was in P8, he's now down to P14. And it's a long pit lane. On Misano, you think you're done with the pit lane, but then it continues for a bit before you can release the pit limiter and go full throttle again. There is the line, and he's down to P16, so it has lost him 8 positions, P17 actually. That's a shame. Now try to get your concentration back and see if you can gain another position or 2. Back to Stewart, now on P8. He's in a fight with Andreas Westkamp. It's an Aston Martin versus Audi R8. Up to the final few corners. Looking at the times there, it's 1:36.6 by Stewart and 1:36.2 by Westkamp. So Westkamp must have noticed that he's gaining a little bit, and that's a boost in confidence.
We're at the halfway mark. Keep pushing.
So nice, right? Pick your braking marker. Slowly releasing the brakes. It looks like Andreas Westkamp did a pretty decent job. They're really gaining on Stewart for a wide entry. See if you can maximize the exit speed. Bit deep in the final corner, and you can really see Stewart getting on the throttle earlier and pulling a gap onto the main straight. They're completely different cars, the Audi and the Aston, and you can see that in the way that it's being driven by the both of them. In the meantime, it's Milan Daum still on P4, our leader in the AM standings, but Denise Pope, who started P11 in the second race, is now down up to P7. So she's done a great job improving her position quite a bit, limiting the damage that Milan can do by being on 4th position. We have a great side-by-side action for P18, and that's just lovely to see that we have intense battles also further down the field. Let's have a look. That must be John Hagen, and I think it's Piotr Rogos. While I was looking at the battle for 18th position, something must have happened to Stewart, because Westkamp is now in P8 and Stewart has dropped down to P10. I'm not sure if that was a slight mistake by Stewart or that there was an incident happening. I was looking at the left top corner and I saw only one car. I saw only Westkamp, and there was a huge empty track in front of him. So I'm wondering if Stewart made a slight mistake or if there was a small incident. Stewart is now being pressured by Wouter Bijlsma, Frank Hopp, Karim Benz. I remember Stewart and Benz also in race 1 having quite an intense fight. Intense and fair fight. So it's looking once again for Stewart to be an exciting race with lots of action. I am just wondering, I saw a car pull to the side. That's the 111 car, I think. That must have been Derek Vedema. No, Derek Vedema is in the pit. I'm not sure what happened there. I saw a red and blue car, I think it's a back mark, which was right behind Stewart. We decided, there's Bijlsma and Hopp right behind me. Let's make some space for them to pass me. Maybe Chris, our broadcaster, is it possible to move to exactly this battle? You read my mind, mister. You read my mind. Because I was noticing that Milan Dalma is really catching up to Mike Abernhosa. I think Mike made a small mistake, or he was battling with Patrick Prince, because he lost almost a second in previous lap to Milan. And with only 9 minutes left in the race, we do see that lap times are dropping quite a bit. Tires are dropping off a little bit, where we did 34.7 in the beginning of the race. We are doing now 35.7 and some even 36 low. So tires are acting up a little bit. Does look like Mike has a little bit of a pace advantage over Milan. Yeah, we have a replay. Ooh, yeah. I think that was the slight mistake by Stewart. It's in the fast kink, and he lost the back a little bit. He did a great job actually to save the car. But unfortunately, he lost the place to Westkamp, and he lost another place after that to Charles van Horen. Milan still putting the pressure on Mike Everenhoser. Only 4 tenths between them. I must say that the gap that Tim Neighbor had, it was almost I think it was 3.7 seconds or something to Patrick Prince when Patrick made a small mistake and got caught up in the fight with Mike. I think Tim was 3.7 seconds ahead of them, and it has come down to 1.4 seconds at the moment. So that battle for P1 is not done completely yet. It does look like Milan is now for a couple of laps he is losing a little bit of time in sectors 1 and 2 to Mike Everenhoser, but he's making up a lot of time in the last sector. Having a look at the lap times, and Patrick Prince managed to close the gap by 3 tenths to Tim Nijboer in the last lap. And there's a 1 second gap at the moment, so if he continues this pace, he would need another 3 laps to catch up to Tim. Which is possible. It would mean that it will catch up in the final lap. I could almost say sponsored by AWS, so I'm definitely not certain if this is correct. It really depends on the pace that Patrick, but also Tim can manage in the last couple of laps. But the gap is definitely coming down. Only 8 tenths of a second now between P1 and P2. Tim Nijboer, Patrick Prince, Mike Everenhoser looks like he cannot follow the pace of Patrick Prince at the moment. Probably also looking more into his rearview mirror, trying to keep Dauma at bay. And here we have Tim Nijboer looking back at Patrick Prince. And once again, it's another 2 tenths gained by by Patrick Prince actually. With 3 minutes and 40 seconds left, it's the fight for P1 is really heating up. Patrick trying to go back to back on race win here. Let's have a look at the lap times that both Tim and Patrick have done. It's a 1:35.6 for Tim and a 1:35.4 for Patrick, so that's another 2 tenths of a second. And I think there are 2 laps remaining. It's anything is possible. between those two. It looks like we have a back marker coming up as well, so Tim really has to make sure that he can navigate through the back marker quite quickly. And yeah, that's really nice. The back marker realizes that he has the race leader right behind him and moves to the side. Well done. Oh, Patrick, he made a mistake. I think he just got his final track limit warning. He has to drive through, and he has only one lap to do it because otherwise the race is over. And that's heartbreaking. He was doing so well. He was gaining on Tim, and he could smell his second victory of tonight. And that's all gone right now. That's really sad. Let's see if he realizes it and goes into the pit right now. No, he waits. I think he's going to do an Alexander Albon and come into the pit on the final lap. I'm not entirely sure if that is the right move, because if we finish this lap, it's race time over. So then we have Tim on P1, which is pretty secure right now because Mike Evrenhauser, who is currently P3 but who is virtually his main competitor at the moment, he's 2 seconds behind. And then we have Mike Dauma on Milan Dauma on P4, still very close to Mike Evrenhauser. So he's probably having a look if he can gain another position in the final lap. But of course we remain with Tim Neighbor for the final few corners of this race. I think Patrick Prince, he really has to go into the pit right now, and I'm not quite sure how that will turn up, because he will finish in pit lane. But he continues on, so he's going for
The leader has finished the race.
probably for a penalty. Yeah, it's a 30-second penalty for Patrick Prince for not doing the drive-through before race finish. Mike Ehrenhauser, he managed to stay ahead of Milan Dauma. Then we have Danny van der Veen, Denise Pope, 6th position in an intense fight with Evan Otafas. It's actually Denise who managed to pass Evan Otafas in the final laps for a P6. That's a very, very nice result after starting P11. Then on P8 we have Andreas Westkamp, followed by Carl van Hoorn, Riord Stewart, Wouter Belsma, and we're now at Karim Bent, Steve Parker. Frank Kopp just finished across the line. Then we have Dion van der Does, Mark van der Eyck, who is about to cross the finish line at this moment, followed by Sjauke Vervat, who was doing really well as well, Sjauke, until he got the drive-through, unfortunately. Next up we have John Hagen, followed by Piotr Rogos. Now we have the green McLaren of Wim Onderwater. And I believe Ike Hughes and Dirk Venema have already finished the race. There goes Wim Onderwater. So there we have it. It's race 2 of tonight in the GT3 Championship. It's Tier 2, Misano. Done for the moment, and I'm having a look what we have up next. Bear with me for a moment. Yeah, next race is gonna be in the UK, Silverstone on May the 10th, and after that we have Kyalami on May the 24th. I'm going to have a look if we have some interviews that we can do. It looks like we have Patrick Prince in the interview waiting room. And welcome, Patrick.
Good evening.
You had an exciting first race and an exciting second race by the looks of it. But let's start with the second race because that one is fresh in my memory. You were doing really great up till I think it was the third lap before the end.
With the drive-through, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest, I wasn't happy with about the first half of the race. I just couldn't get my groove right, so I couldn't really. I just kept like braking too late or too early, turning just a bit too soon or too late. So even though I was still within a second of the leader, I just wasn't happy with anything going on. Picked up a couple track warnings from that. And then and I also had a mistake there. Somehow I managed to catch a huge slide in the fast right-hander, which probably I should have died from. But yeah, somehow managed to catch that and stay ahead of Abranosa. However, once I saw Nijbo, sorry if I butchered your name, mate. Once I saw he had a mistake himself and it closed right up, I went on the attack. Got another track warning, so I was on 3 at that point, and then yeah, right at the end, just had a slide going into the start of sector 2 that took me just outside of track limits on the inside of the corner, and that was that.
Oh yeah, that's really heartbreaking because you were driving a really nice race, and you made we actually saw the slight mistake. You were really close to Tim, and after the slight mistake, you really got into a fight with Mike, and Tim was able to create a gap for himself about 3.7 seconds or something like that. And then we had a look at some of the other fights further down the field, and once we switched back to you, it was only 1 second. So that really brought us back to the front of our seat and have a look at what happened there. You decided in the end to not go into the pit lane for the drive-through. Was that on purpose, or were you just noticing it a bit too late?
No, it was on purpose. I feel like I know it's a standard 30 second added, and I feel like the pit lane here, because of the pit exit being so long, is probably slightly longer than that. So I just thought I'd go for the flat 30 seconds, hoping it's slightly less.
All right, overall. Right, yeah. We were just wondering because it was so close to the end. You know, if you also had a little bit of a moment coming onto the final corner that I thought maybe you were trying to correct the car and missed the pit entry because of that. But it was a great race, Patrick. And back to the first race, you had some great battles with Mike as well, and also Tim. And there was slight contact between the two of them, and you capitalized on that.
I was, I think I pushed a little bit too hard on Mike on the first lap, trying to go around the outside of the hairpin at the end of the third sector. Which gave Tim the run on the inside, so I had to settle for third for a little bit. And then because the speed difference on the straight for the Porsche especially just being like so much slower, they constantly were within a second, well, half a second if that, and then ending up side by side into that fast corner. I expected an incident to happen. It's a shame it did for those two. To be honest, I almost got caught up into it. I don't know how I managed to stop myself going loop in it as well, because as I see the Merc spinning in front of me, I had to snap left, and then my rear got loose, and I was 180 degrees counter steering. Just somehow managed to keep it going straight. And very pleased actually that I managed to keep that, because that's my first win, I think, ever in an official league race. So I'm very, very happy. Just a shame I couldn't keep P2 in the second one, or even grab the win right at the end there because of the drive-through.
Yeah, but still, you're gonna remember this race for your first win. Congratulations, Patrick. We'll see you back in Silverstone.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And Tim, thank you, Patrick. Tim, Patrick already mentioned it. We were mentioning the first race, and you were having a really great fight with both Patrick and Mike Abranosa. Looking ready for the win, and then there was a It looked like a slight mistake, the back end of your car stepping out and unfortunately hitting Mike. How did you see it?
Yeah, indeed. Well, it was awesome racing indeed with Mike and Patrick as well. Really close in the first race. But indeed, as Patrick already mentioned, the Porsche is so much slower on the straights that you can gain like 4/10 with the Mike with the Merc, I should say. So I was looking to get past, but it couldn't make it happen, and had a couple of times where I was side by side, but I couldn't really make the position stick. But in the end, in one place I did indeed, but then the rear end of the car got a bit squirrely, and unfortunately it was too much for me to handle, and I tapped Mike in unfortunately, and that became an accident. But I had more accidents in the same race, so race one really wasn't perfect.
No, exactly. Yeah, we saw the incident, and we could also see, it was the back end stepping out a bit, and unfortunately for Mike, it was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. There's not much you can do then as a driver. You try to correct it. That happened. But I think you also managed to pick up the drive-through in race one. Is that correct?
Sorry.
You also managed to pick up the drive-through in the first race. Yeah,
that was a bit odd because I had 2 warnings, and fair enough, I crossed the boundary twice. But then at the kink to the right in the circuit after the long straight, I went a bit wide, and for some reason that got me 2 track limits, so that was a drive-through immediately. And I'm not entirely sure how I got 2 track limits in one corner, but apparently that's possible.
Yeah. Chris and I were discussing it because that part of the track is known. It's the fast kink, and there are two track limits right after each other, so it is possible there to catch 2, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And even sometimes it happens because it's such a fast kink. If you lose the back end, that it gives you a straight disqualification if you get a tank slapper and cut the chicane that way. So that's unfortunate, Tim. You had a really great race. The second race, you qualified on pole position in the final lap, I believe.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, and you had a very nice first lap, and you immediately pulled the gap to the guys behind you.
Yeah, well, the pressure was quite high actually, especially in the beginning. Because I'm not sure, but I think Patrick was behind me the whole time, but I don't think he got in a lot of fights with Mike. I'm not sure. I couldn't see it, but I couldn't really extend the gap that much. Or a long time it was like a second, so don't really have a margin for error. But at some point I think Patrick made a mistake, so I had a little bit more of a margin. But then I made a mistake myself, and then he was behind until the finish, and until he got a drive-through. That's really unfortunate for him. But it was really it was a nice race, and glad with the result of the second one.
Good to hear. It was very enjoyable for us to watch, and congratulations on the race win.
Thank you very much. Also, nicely done on the streams. The last one was really nice to watch. So,
thank you. Yeah. Well, we're going to see what this one is about because this time I'm the commentator, so we'll have a look.
Yeah.
Well, we try to do our best.
Yeah. Thanks.
Milan Dauma is our championship leader for the AM category. I think you had an unfortunate first race, but a really good second one. How was your evening?
Well, a bit disappointed after the first one. Didn't see a hit from behind coming, but that put me way down. I think it was P14, something like that.
Yeah.
And the second race was much more interesting. Not a lot of battling, but got very close with Abrinhosa. And just driving in P4 the entire race, and then easy first placing class.
Yeah, it was really great to watch, and especially the second race. The first race we noticed in that indeed I think it was on turn 1 that you got a small tap, and because it's in lap 1 you lose a lot of positions because of that. You did gain some positions back as well, but especially the second race it was a great qualification. It stayed clean in the first couple of laps. And then it was great to see you putting pressure on Mike, and Mike putting pressure on Patrick, and Patrick putting pressure on Tim, and everyone was so close together. And it was just awesome to watch, and very close in the end. Not a lot of moves being made, but that might also be due to the track, or was it also that you were thinking, like, before, that's a pretty nice position. If there's a real big opportunity, of course I will go for it, but I will not risk too much.
Yeah, it was Mike. I couldn't get him to make a mistake. He was very consistent. Just kept his lines, didn't get pressured. Went alongside with him for a bit, but nothing came of it. And in the end, yeah, I mean, I was first in class, so just keep position and get the points.
Exactly. Yeah, gain some points back that you lost in race 1. So very well done in the second race. And it's going to be exciting for the last final 2 races. Thank you, Milan.
Yeah,
we'll see you on May the 10th in Silverstone.
Sure will.
And with that, we are, I think, completing this today's race. Thank you to Chris Nomick Hill as well. Fortunately, he did have a microphone in the first race, and he did a great job on the broadcasting. So thank you for today. We'll see you back in Silverstone May the 10th, and after that we have Kyalami May the 24th. And this weekend we also have the endurance for a good cause, I believe. Unfortunately, Chris is the one who knows a lot about that. But do keep in touch. Have a look at our website, simracingsport.com, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.